Yes, this is Igor. You should be able to hear me now. I ran into some technical issues, so give me a quick shout out in the chat if you were able to hear me as usual. Yep, all right. Sounds good. Sounds good. I can see people logging in. Very good. Very nice. Very nice. All right, let me fire up my screen. So now you should be able to see my screen as well. So let me know in the chat if you can. Yes, no. Do we have visual? Yeah. All right. We do have visual. Perfect. So how's everyone doing today? Type in where you're from. Let me know where you're coming in from. All right. South Carolina in the house. Awesome. You got someone from Maine. Really? That's it? No one from New York, Florida, anywhere. From Tennessee, Nevada, Namibia. Wow, that's cool. I think that's in Africa. Yep. All right. See, people are slowly coming in. All right. So, who's excited to learn about e-farming? Does anyone even know what e-farming is? Give me a quick yes, no in the chat. Do you or do you not know what e-farming is? Like, have you ever heard the term? Do you know what it is? No idea. No, no, don't know. No idea. No, 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 no. All right, cool. Well, this is going to be really eye-opening because e-farming is responsible for making me a lot of money. It's responsible for making a lot of money for a lot of people. They don't even talk about it. And today, my purpose is to show you, is to help you see and understand how e-farming is done and how you can use e-farming to build multiple streams of income and to make passive income from home. And I promise it has nothing to do with owning an actual farm or working in the field or whatever. We won't have to, you won't have to breed chickens and milk cows, nothing like that. All right. So who's excited about making multiple streams of income, making passive income, and being in full control of how much money they make every single month, even if you failed with everything else out there, even if you failed with every method, system, approach, etc., etc., etc. Yep. So give me some love in the chat. Come on. Yes, yes, yes. Me. Yes, sounds very good. Yes, 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 yes. Seeing lots of excited faces in the chat. All right. Bob, Remy, Deron, Chappelle, Sherry, Salvatore, Lana, Bob, Latara, Deron, Gary. Come on. I want to see more names in that chat. You should be way more excited about e-farming. Way more excited. I mean, just look at the screenshot on your screen right now. That's like one of my tax returns for one of my entities, one of my businesses that's producing over $400,000. That's Canadian dollars, just so we're clear. That's $400,000 a year. But even in US dollars, it's still like 360,000. That's more than a doctor makes, more than a lawyer makes. Right? Most lawyers don't make anywhere near that, even though they have a license to print money, right? Yes, Daron, I can see your messages. Now, I'm going to be going into the full screen mode, so I won't be seeing your messages unless I exit the full screen mode. But I do have Lana in the chat helping me out here, so she's going to be feeding any questions or requests over to me through a chat system that I do see on my other computer here. All right, so who's ready to get this party started? And let's talk about e-farming, shall we? On this training, I would like to share with you how me, an ex-retail slave and an ex-security guard, an ex-busboy in Burger King, but I couldn't fit all of these titles into this headline. So I'll share with you how I ditched my retail job, ditched every job that I've ever had, and started making over $400,000 a year from home using something called e-farming. And I'm doing it without drop shipping crap from China, without chasing clients, without hustling on social media, without doing any of that stuff. And you won't have to. All right. Now, here's the agenda for this training. I'm going to explain to you what the heck is e-farming and how is it helping average people retire early. Then I'm going to show you how Hollywood actors, pop stars, and ex-presidents are using e-farming as we speak to get richer outside of their showbiz careers. And I'll also talk to you about whether you should get involved in e-farming and who it is for. And if you do want to get into it, I'll tell you about a very simple way to break into e-farming in the next 30 days using a simple step-by-step system. Okay, sounds fair? Come on, keep giving me some of that love in the chat, all right? Because it's been scientifically proven that the more engaged you are in the chat, the more engaged you are with the training and with the trainer, the more you will retain. So just for the sake of understanding this better, learning more today, and getting better ROI on your time today, do yourself a favor and post in the chat, comment in the chat, ask questions, and be active, all right? Now, by proceeding beyond this point, I really don't want any misunderstandings later. By proceeding beyond this point, you agree that this is not a get rich quick scheme, that success takes dedication and persistence, and that every opportunity, no matter how great, carries a seed of risk in it. Okay? And that my income claims or the income claims of the people I have helped using this system are not guarantee a result, right? So I actually need you to post in the chat right now, say, I agree, just so I know we're on the same page, okay? Because if you don't agree with this training is not going to help you. In fact, you're probably better off going and maybe looking for a job or something, because it's definitely not something that might interest you. Okay, so give me I agree in the chat if you agree and understand that we're not here pushing get rich quick schemes or doing anything shady like that. Everything I'm going to show you is above board. It's a proper business opportunity, and you only want to get involved with it if you understand some of the fundamentals of what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Right? Fair enough? Yes. All right. Now, I want to take you back to the time when I was a student in the Israeli Air Force Military Academy. And I went to that academy. I was actually enrolled into that academy by my parents because it was the cheapest way to get a decent education where I grew up. And my parents were broke, so they didn't have the ability to send me to a good college later. So they enrolled me into this academy when I was just 14 years old. And from the very beginning, I was told one thing. My mom was a music teacher, my dad was a mechanical engineer. So they told me, you need to study hard, you need to work hard, and someday you will find a great job and you will make money. Now, after graduating that academy, I gave it 6 years. After graduation, I only really managed to find a job in retail. It was a store called Mickey's Computer Store, and it wasn't good enough. Like it wasn't enough to pay the bills. It wasn't enough to cover my expenses, my living cost. So I had to get another job as an overnight security guard at a chemical facility. And this facility actually produced toxic like these toxic pesticide materials that they would ship to Argentina and Brazil. And the material was so toxic that if you worked on the production line for 45 minutes, you were obligated to step out for 15 minutes into the courtyard to breathe some fresh air. So you weren't allowed to be in the production facility for more than 45 minutes straight. That's how toxic it was. Now, at the time, I'm young, right? I'm like in my early 20s, and I am falling in love with this girl. And obviously, just like anyone in my age and with my set of hormones, I guess, and brain chemistry, like we move in together. I really want to like do right by this girl, and I want to marry her eventually, and we even get a cat. So I'm serious, right? But moving in together proves to be extremely difficult because it's expensive. All of a sudden, I'm moving out of my parents, and I'm trying to pay the bills here. I got two jobs. She's working two jobs as well, one in retail and one waiting tables. And every single day, I feel as if life is literally crushing me. Like I'm not able to afford anything nice for her or for myself. I'm not able to take any vacations. I am barely scraping by. I'm constantly having to beg my parents for a little bit of help, a little bit of money. I remember even one time things got so bad that I approached my father and I asked him to go shopping with me and buy some food for me. Like I said, don't give me money, but can you just please buy me some food so we can survive for the next week until I get paid. And so life was just really, really difficult. Like there's 52 weeks in a year, and 53 of those weeks I was working my ass off and I was still perpetually broke. Like seriously, it even got to a point, and this is a little bit embarrassing to admit, but it got to a point when our friends would invite us to like a birthday party or a wedding, and I would make up excuses as to why we couldn't go because I felt that if we go, we have to buy gifts, we have to like pay something, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't have any spare cash to be able to do that. So naturally, not only was I tired and broke, I also started driving my friends away because I didn't show up to any parties. I stopped going out. Like things just were financially, I was just strapped. And even though I was working two jobs and my wife to be was working two jobs, it wasn't enough to pay the bills like to the extent that we needed to. So just like anyone, and I don't know if you've had the same experience, when I felt that life was, that I was the track and life was the train, so to speak, I basically didn't know what else to do. Like I didn't have any great role models growing up, and I just went to the self-help section of the internet. Again, just like I guess most people, you log on to YouTube, you check out Amazon, you look into books, you look into courses, right? And there's so many of them there. There's so many seminars and courses and infomercials on TV. Everybody wants to sell you something. Everybody wants to show you the method to achieving all your dreams and stuff like that. So just like everyone else, again, I guess I don't know if this is your path. I don't know if you've had the same experience, but I started kind of studying all the greats and reading all their books. The Tony Robbins's, the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Brian Tracy's, the Tim Ferriss's, the Stephen Covey's, the Brian Tracy's, the Jim Rohn's, everybody. Like I started like really just I became this self-help junkie. I tried to think positive. And, for the longest time, I really fed my mind with good information, but I never really did anything to change it, right? I really didn't know what to do because I didn't have any business experience. I wasn't rich or anything. I didn't grow up in a family of entrepreneurs. Like I just had no idea what else could I be doing besides my day job. Besides, of course, an awkward internet scheme here and there, like doing surveys and stuff like that, right? So eventually, though, after studying all the grades for a while, I one day just browsed to the Tony Robbins website and I noticed he was doing e-farming. It wasn't like super obvious, but I noticed it. I didn't even call it e-farming at the time, but I noticed he was doing it. Then I went to Tim Ferriss's website, the guy who wrote the 4 Hour Work Week, a book I really liked at the time because it spoke about working smart and not working hard and making more money by working less. And he was doing it too. And I went to Bob Proctor's website, and Bob Proctor was doing e-farming as well. And it's crazy because all of these people, they were way richer than I thought I could ever be, and yet they were all doing this e-farming thing, just kind of crazy. So I asked myself, could other people be doing it? Could other famous people be doing it as well? Is there like a common denominator here? Is it something that rich people tend to do? Rich and famous people, people who achieve something in life, not people like me who work dead end jobs and die broke. Because no one in my community was doing anything like this. And you know what I discovered? Is that this, House Laboratories, it's the brand owned by Lady Gaga. They're doing it. Oprah does it actually a lot. Tyra Banks, the famous supermodel, she does it too with her ice cream brand called Smy's Ice Cream. Venus Williams, the famous tennis player, does that with her brand called 11, where she sells clothes and protein shakes and stuff like that. Ed by Ellen is like a big store that's owned by Ellen DeGeneres, the TV host. They're doing it. This diaper company owned by Kristen Bell does it. And even this company called Laughing Man Coffee Company, owned by none other but Hugh Jackman, the guy from the X-Men movies, one of my favorite actors by far, he's doing it too. And even Barack Obama is doing it to help raise money for his foundation, which is kind of crazy. And it's barely scratching the surface. So naturally, when I saw that, I was like, wow, they're all doing it. But as soon as I got excited, immediately all of my excitement went out the window because I started asking, can someone like me do it, right? Can someone like, who's not a celebrity, somebody who doesn't have a website, somebody who doesn't have any money, no products to sell, and any kind of business experience or product or anything like that, can someone like me do it? And I really didn't think I could do it, but I couldn't help myself. And with the little free time that I did have, and remember, I worked as a security guard overnight at that chemical facility, which means I did have a lot of free time on my hands because I wasn't allowed to be asleep, and I had to do rounds only once an hour, so I had a lot of dead time. And so I kind of went down this rabbit hole, and I kept digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. I dug way deeper than most people would ever be willing to, and I found a small group of people. I'd call them the elite group of people who are actually doing e-farming without being any sort of famous at all. Like they were doing it, nobody knew their names. They weren't like anything special, completely average people, but they figured out a way to do e-farming without any of the things that the rich and famous have, right? So the only way they would allow me in is if I paid my way in, which is exactly what I've done. I've saved money. I borrowed from my parents. I put some money on the credit card, and I still was short, but I've really begged and pleaded, and they allowed me to get in, basically putting down as much money as I could possibly muster. And they let me into their society and showed me what to do. And this whole experience was really eye opening because they showed me how anyone can get into e-farming without being rich and famous, without a website, without product of their own, and without any previous experience. And I went on to start making ridiculous amounts of money every single day. In fact, you're seeing right now a screenshot from one of my online payment accounts where I make more money in one day than I used to make in 6 months working a quote unquote real job, right? This is something that my parents still can't really comprehend. They don't understand how it's even possible where I work only a few hours every day and I make that kind of money. It's pretty crazy. And that's what I wanted to share with you. I want to share with you how I got my first real money from the internet and what led to a complete transformation, a complete makeover of my life. Being able to afford nice vacations, renting out boats because, I wouldn't probably buy a boat ever because it's way too expensive and it's just maintenance and I'm not really passionate about it. But, I rent boats from time to time, taking my wife out to nice dinners. And I immediately bought myself a brand new car, which was way, way more expensive than any of my friends could afford. And I actually bought it cash by writing out the check. And you should have seen the salesman's, the salesman was like, kid, what the hell do you do? So that was like, definitely a great experience. I proposed to my wife to be, got a ring, we had a baby, like just life just went on to this upward trajectory where I felt comfortable because I knew I could afford anything. I could afford to fly out to football games, to soccer games if you're in America, to take my wife to Paris, to my daughter later. She obviously grew up, and take her to Vegas and Disney World and the Universal, like all the different destinations that kids love to go. And all while I'm traveling, all while I'm enjoying my life, all while I'm being a father, being a husband, I continue to make big money every single day. Now, this is pretty crazy if you think about it, because again, I start out with no education, with no business experience. I'm nobody special. I don't have the advantages that the celebrities do. I didn't have any products that I could even sell or any kind of business experience. And yet, I've achieved the sort of income that allows me to drive a Porsche on a day to day. I live in a big house in one of the most expensive cities in the world. I live in Toronto, which is the fourth most expensive city in the world, probably even higher now up the ranking because the pandemic really kind of pushed those real estate prices up. but it's pretty crazy if you think about it. I'm able to put money aside for a rainy day, and I can sleep well at night knowing that I've got enough cash saved up in case anything happens to me, so my family can survive and kind of figure things out if needed, right? And again, all of this is done through e-farming, which is the thing that most people never even heard of. So e-farming, again, just to sum it up, gives me unlimited income potential. It gives me multiple streams of income because I got money coming in like literally out of nowhere sometimes. Earlier today, as I was getting ready for this training, I actually received an email from PayPal saying $2,700 got deposited into my account. And turns out this is money that was owed to me from e-farming for something that happened like 3 months ago. It's nice. It's really nice, don't you think? I mean, when was the last time you received a check in the mail and not a bill? When was the last time an email came in into your inbox and it was like a payment notification? When was the last time you were excited to check your email because there was money there, right? For me, that's literally every single day. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I check my phone, I look into my inbox, because I know, like it's not a guess. I know there's going to be payments there. There's going to be notifications there with money, and I have that. Again, I'm not really sharing this to brag. There's really no need for me to brag, but I'm showing you what e-farming has done for me because a lot of people think, okay, yes, you can get rich, but you really have to sell your soul to the devil or something. No, you really don't. You can get rich, maintain your and have your time freedom, have your location freedom, which means you can work from anywhere in the world, and have life on your own terms. It's really possible when you know how it's done, when you have the right system, and e-farming is that system for me. So, question, would you like to know how e-farming actually works? Come on, put yes in the chat if you would like to know, if you'd like for me to tell you how e-farming actually works. Yes, 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 the chat's exploding. Awesome. All right, so get ready. I know you're excited, so get ready. So look, e-farming, quite simply, is the process of organizing email databases and what I call email coops or email herds, then nurturing these email coops and email herds, and then sending out e-letters promoting products to these email addresses. Now, what's really important is that this is not spam. We're not spamming anyone. We're not, we're not being intrusive in any way. We don't do anything like that. We don't send, penis pills out there, nothing like that. It's not spam. It's all permission based. Okay. And when it's done right, and I'll show you how to do it right, you can become a proud owner of an e-farm that's actually producing six figures a year for you every single year. And yes, every single big name, guru, celebrity, whatever, they do it too. Barack Obama did it when he was going against Biden, going for presidency, and he does it today for his foundation. Tony Robbins does it every single day. That's one of his primary mechanisms to get people to his seminars and promote his products. Bob Proctor does it every single day and sends out several emails every single day with product offerings promoting his courses and partner courses. Even Oprah does it. She builds what she calls email newsletters, right? But it's the same thing. You can call it an email newsletter, you can call it an email list, you can call it an email farm. I call it an email farm because it's just so much more exciting because I imagine all these emails giving me, they're growing, right? They're becoming cash basically, right? So she has several newsletters and she does that, right? But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Igor, I'm a nobody, right? I'm like, how am I supposed to do it if I don't have what these celebrities have? I'm not rich, I'm not famous, I don't have any products, right? Is that what you're thinking? Because that's what I was thinking. Remember, I was thinking that I'm not a celebrity, I don't have a website, I have no money, I got no products to sell, I got no business experience. How am I supposed to like do e-farming successfully? Because e-farming does make sense. It's just how do you do it if you don't have any of the advantages that the celebrities have? Well, let me show you. Let me give you the step-by-step blueprint right? For nobodies, for quote unquote nobodies, or in a minute. Okay. First, why email? Right? Because there's lots of social media outlets out there. How come we're not talking about building a social media following? There's, you can do a podcast. You can, do a YouTube channel. Why are we focusing on email? Why are these email farms and not social media farms, if you will? Well, it's very simple. Email is by far the best way to get people to buy stuff. It's written about in the Wall Street Journal. It's constantly mentioned in Forbes. Every single guru out there who specializes in digital marketing, right? They talk about it too. Neil Patel talks about email. Russell Brunson talks about email. Email has been studied and restudied and studied again to produce response of multiple of what social media produces. In fact, there's one particular study that showed not only email users buy 9 times more often than social media users, but they spend 20 times more money when they buy. So to put this in perspective for you, if you're selling something for, say, if you have a store, right, and you bring someone from social media, that person will spend $1 out of every 9 visits with your store. However, same store, same products. If you bring a person from email, that person will buy 9 times or 8 times out of 9, and they will spend $9, I'm sorry, they will spend $20 every time they come into the store, which means they're far more profitable customers, which means they make you a lot more money than any social media user. Does that make sense to you guys? I don't want to confuse you with a bunch of numbers, but I want you to see and understand that email as a media is by far the best media to promote anything to anyone, right? So can I get a yes in the chat if you understand this? Like, this is a big thing to understand. A lot of people don't get this, and they're wasting so much time and so much money chasing fads. They're doing crazy dumb stuff, building apps and doing podcasts, like doing so much crap. You don't need to do any of that. Yeah, so I'm seeing lots of yeses. I'm seeing Gary, Sherry, Lai, Chappelle, Deron, Lana, Doreen or Doran, Mutala, Vaughn, Jim, Salvatore. Um, yep. Yes, awesome. All right, cool. So you're getting it. That's perfect. Even if you get nothing else from this training, but this, trust me, I've just done you a huge service. Now, there are 3 steps you need to take to making a lot of money with e-farming. First, you need to cultivate a large email farm fast by passively generating hundreds of email addresses a day legally and automatically. Okay? We don't want to do anything shady. We don't want to do anything black hat. We need something that works, something that's fast, and something that's completely legal. Okay? Then what we want to do is we want to monetize our farm by sending e-letters with done for us products, done for you products that pay us money, that pay us commissions, that pay us residuals, that pay us income when people buy. And we want to automate the system to earn passive income, which means we want for this process to be automated so we don't have to be constantly involved in making it happen. So this way we can make passive income, right? Make sense? Good. So how do you do it? So first and foremost, how do we collect email addresses? And my best, by far, biggest recommendation to you is to do it with eDrops. And the reason is because I don't want you to build a blog. I don't want you to go on social media. That stuff takes forever and doesn't work. It takes a lot of time as well, a lot of effort. We're not here for that. I don't want you to become a YouTube influencer. I don't want you to write content. None of that stuff. Instead, you have to know this secret. You see, there's tons of people and companies out there who publish email newsletters already to millions of people. They come with different shapes and sizes, different topics and niches, but there's tons and tons and tons of email newsletters. I'm sure you yourself are getting emails on a bunch of different subjects every single day. Then what we do is we approach and ask to send out an email telling the subscribers of those newsletters to join our email farm for a small one-time fee that we pay to the newsletter owner, right? And it's 100% legal, 100% compliant with the CAN-SPAM Act and GDPR. We get permission from these people to then join our eFarm, and it's different from buying lists. So we're not going out there to buy records. We're not going out there to buy email addresses. That's not what we do. That's actually not exactly legal and usually doesn't really work. Instead, we're getting email addresses to opt in to receive our e-letters. And by doing so, we're adding hundreds or even thousands of new email addresses to our eFarm overnight. This is a shortcut that people just don't know about. This is how you get literally hundreds, even thousands of people to join your eFarm really, really quickly. Plus, because you got recommended by the newsletter owner, you're immediately credible. And that's a big deal. This is how you can be adding 1,000 people or 1,000 email addresses to your eFarm very quickly, automatically, every single day. Okay, and you can do it in every niche possible. You want to do it in the political niche, great. You want to do it in the weight loss, great. You want to do nutrition, okay. You want to do survival, sure. You want to do financial, yeah. So any niche you can think of, you can actually do it. So think about it this way. Every time you are collecting a good quality email address into your eFarm, it is like a seed you plant, and then it grows, and then you collect the profits later. Okay, and I'll explain to you how we collect the profits. But do you understand what I mean? So do you understand that every email address is an asset? And when you have thousands of these email addresses, even if they each produce only $1 or 50 cents or $3 or $7, when you've got thousands of them, can you see in your mind's eye how much money that can make you? You don't even need that big of an email farm in the first place. You can have a couple of thousand people in your e-farm, and that alone might be enough for you to pay your bills. Now, step two is we want to build multiple streams of income. And how we do that is we do that by partnering with companies and brands that give us products for free so we can send out e-letters, or in other words, we basically get e-letters from these brands. They're already pre-written for us, okay? And then we just send these e-letters. We kind of slip these e-letters under the doorstep for all of these email subscribers we've generated, okay? And then when we refer sales, we make commissions. We don't talk to anyone. We don't do any customer support. We don't create the products, source the products, brand the products with our name, nothing like that. We don't even have to be telling people who we are. Now, which companies can you partner with? You can partner with Amazon, you can partner with Walmart, you can partner with Expedia, you can partner with Nordstrom, you can partner with Under Armour, and a bunch of other companies. It's actually super, super easy, and it doesn't require you to pay anything to these companies. It doesn't require you to have any meetings with these companies. You don't have to talk to their executives, nothing like that. It's all done through all online applications. As long as you know what to say, you will get approved into these programs. Now, the upside of partnering with companies like Amazon and Walmart is that it is free. There's no contract or minimums, and you don't need to talk to anyone. But there's a downside. The downside is that they pay very little commission. Companies like Walmart and Amazon, they don't really have big profit margins, so they actually pay really, really, really low commissions. There's very little, if any, residual income, and some will only improve influencers and not quote unquote average people like us, as well as because they're so famous, they're so popular, we will probably end up having a lot of competition, which we don't have. Now, stick around and I'll share with you an advanced secret. I'll talk to you about private done for you products that pay big commissions and not those small paying, Amazon and Walmart products. In other words, there's a set of products, there's a way to partner up with companies, again, for free, that give you ability to promote products that pay you big amounts of money for every sale, so you can make thousands of dollars every single day. I'm talking as much as $70,000 in a single week, just like I made here by promoting something that pays me $1,200 per sale and $600 per sale. And here is another example of me making $32,000 in just 4 days, again, with a single done for me product. Okay. So the reason I'm able to make millions of dollars every single year is because I get paid a lot of money for every sale I refer through my eFarm. So I really don't need to refer all that many sales to make great money. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes. Okay, great. So there is as well, by the way, there's upsides to partnering with these brands that I'm just mentioned. It's also free. There's also no contracts or minimums that you also don't need to talk to anyone, but there's big payouts. There's exclusive products, which means you won't have as much competition, and you're helping people solve real problems. So customers are actually grateful to you regardless, okay, regardless of whether or not you are or whether or not they're like buying the product. So just making them aware of a solution to their problem alone is value. So whenever you send an e-letter to your email addresses, right, you are a welcome guest just because of that. And of course, something that Amazon and Walmart don't really do is they don't really pay residual income. With these products, you can be getting paid every single month like clockwork. Like I actually have an income stream that paid me $12,000 this year, which I promoted last year. So in other words, the residual income I'm getting every single week, the commissions I'm getting from the referrals I made last year are still paying me to the tune of 12 grand a year, which is about half the year's salary for a fast food chain employee. Now, this is completely passive, right? So you just understand, I don't think about it, I don't do anything, I don't even check on it, I just get the checks in the mail, okay? So this is what's possible with what I'm talking about here. Now, the step three is you need to automate the whole system, right? We need to use a simple software that costs peanuts to automate our email intake and our e-letter sending. And then we can rinse and repeat using automation to continue building up additional income streams. So once we got one income stream set up, we can do the same thing for the next one and for the next one and for the next one and for the next one, okay? So here's an example of what e-farming automation looks like. So let's say we brought in 100 email addresses on day one, and we invested 10 minutes to send out a done for us e-letter with a product offering to our 100 email subscribers. And we got a 5% conversion, which means we made 5 sales, okay? Then on day two, we got another 100 emails, which now means we have 200 emails. And so again, we invest the exact same 10 minutes to load the done for us e-letter into the system, push a button, and then it gets sent to all 200 email addresses in our database. And again, we get 5% conversion, we make 10 sales. Now we keep rinsing and repeating. And by day 30, we've now have 3,000 email addresses in our eFarm. Our time investment is again exactly the same because our eFarm is growing automatically using the method I just told you about. And it takes us, once again, the same 10 minutes to load the e-letter that was pre-written for us with the product offering into the system. So now, again, it goes out to 3,000 people, and at the exact same 5% conversion, we're now looking at 150 sales. Now, do you understand where the leverage comes from here? We invest the exact same amount of time, the exact same amount of effort. But we're actually getting, by day 30, we're getting 30 times the outcomes, 30 times better outcome than we got on day one. That's what I call working smart. So with the system-driven approach, we can build a really cool, lucrative, residual, and passive income with e-farming. Does that make sense to you guys? Give me a quick yes, no in the chat, just so I know you're with me. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Yep, 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 yep. Yep. Give me more yeses in the chat. Come on. Yes. So Chappelle, Lai, Jim, Lana, Salvatore, Sherry, Gary. Yep, 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 yep. Yep. Vaughn, Deron. Yep. All right. Cool. So it's making sense to you. Perfect. Now, here's what we've covered so far. We've covered what e-farming is and how it works. Now you know. We've covered how celebrities are making money with e-farming, and we've covered how to make money with e-farming without being rich and famous. We also covered the secret to growing a huge e-farm fast from scratch using e-drops and how to monetize your e-farm by partnering with companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Under Armour. Now, we also spoke about how you can make money with e-farming using my three-step system and how to automate your efforts to enjoy passive income with e-farming and how to build multiple streams of income in a few hours a week by using systems and e-automation. Now, due to some time constraints, here are some things we haven't covered. We haven't covered how to collect email addresses into email coops. We haven't covered what software to use to send out thousands of e-letters with a push of a button, right? So it doesn't take you forever, and so you don't have to load 3,000 emails by hand. We haven't covered where to find email newsletter owners who offer e-drops to grow your e-farm from scratch. We haven't covered how to ask for an e-drop because there's actually a script that you can use, and where to find secret done for you products that pay big commissions, unlike Walmart and Amazon and all of these, companies that pay you, let's face it, just peanuts for your efforts, which makes the whole e-farming situation not so profitable, and how to get approved to make money with these done for you products and more. Now, coming to this training, I had two choices, two decisions or two options. You see, I could have, you know, told you what I told you, showed you what I showed you, and told you, okay, now you can go and do it yourself. But I don't like this option because most people screw it up when they do it themselves. And I know because I screw things up when I do it myself. Like even when I have to make some scrambled eggs, I end up screwing things up, and my wife gives me that look, because there's a learning curve to e-farming. Just like anything else, there's a learning curve. It's nowhere near close what you go through if you go to college or business school, nothing like that. But there's still a bit of a learning curve because it involves the internet. Because e-farming is something that I've got down to predictable science, but it took me a long time to figure out. You see, it took me a long time, and I actually had to pay my way up, so to speak, after I found that group of people that were doing it successfully. Because I know tricks, hacks, and shortcuts you don't, and because you will make mistakes that will cost you time and money. It's just natural. Like when you get into something brand new, you will make mistakes. We all know that. Now, choice number two, option number two, is we can do it together. And here's what I mean. My question to you is this. Would you like me to show you how to build your first e-farm by building it in front of your eyes so you can follow along click by click? Give me a yes, no in the chat for this one. Okay, I'll build it. Would you like for to see how I build it click by click in front of your eyes? Would you like me to give you all of my templates, shortcuts, and hacks to help you make maximum money in minimum time with e-farming? Again, give me yes, no in the chat. And finally, would you like me to show you the fastest way to have a wildly profitable e-farm in just 30 minutes per day? Right? Just 30 minutes per day to show you a profitable way to get into e-farming. So yes, no in the chat. Okay, let me review the chat real quick. Right, there's so many yeses. I'm not sure where you started. So, um, Chappelle, Lai, Jim, Lana, Salvatore, Sherry, Gary, Vaughn, Deron, um, John. There's just so many names repeating themselves. So I'm trying to look up some new names. Robert. Yep, 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 yep. All right, cool. All right, so here's the deal. I would like to share with you something that's called the e-farming system. It's my system to building a wildly profitable e-farm in 30 minutes per day. Okay? And it's really, really simple. Here's what's inside, right? I've got e-farming down to a process and a system. And not only that, I've actually got not just the e-farming, but the process of building a brand new farm or a brand new email farm down to a process and a system because I had to do it for myself. I had to figure out how I can replicate my success, right? Because a lot of times people just accidentally stumble into something, but they can't make it happen again. So I've got my stuff down to the process and the system. Now, my system eliminates guesswork, and it's easily duplicatable by a complete beginner like you. So I broke it down into 30-minute follow-along steps So you basically take 30 days, you take 30 minutes per day every day, 30 days to complete the whole thing. And this way, I speed up your progress and you avoid overwhelm because you don't get bogged down, behind your computer screen for hours and hours and hours on end. You don't get overwhelmed, burnt out because I'm sure you have a life, you have other things going on. So this way, you can actually do it 30 minutes per day, whether before or after work. Maybe you wake up first thing in the morning, you want to do 30 minutes per day. Maybe you do 2 steps today and 1 step tomorrow and no steps the next day, so you can take it at your own pace. But it is digestible and easy to follow. And here's what's inside. I'm going to show you how to put together your eFarm from scratch without any technical experience and how to automatically cultivate hundreds of responsive email addresses every day to build a huge herd within weeks, not years. Okay? And how to obtain permission to send them e-letters with offers. I will also show you how to collect your email addresses into an e-automation software and how to send e-letters to your entire e-herd at the push of a button. Okay, so you can work smart. I will also show you how to set up automatic e-letters to be sent to every new email address who joins, excuse me, who joins your e-farm without you touching anything, so you can make an automated income. I will also show you how to make money with your eFarm by partnering with brands who will give you done-for-you products for free, and where to find high-paying done-for-you products, as well as where to find products that pay residual income to e-farmers like you and me. You'll also see how to set up multiple streams of income from day one and how to work smart to scale your e-farming income and how to automate your e-farm to make passive income so you have time to either do nothing and chill or travel or build the next e-farm and the next e-farm and the next e-farm, right? So that's what my system is all about. And like I said, it's not just like a course, it's actually over my shoulder doing it together with you. You're just pointing and clicking along with me. Okay. Now, I know that the questions on your mind is this: how soon can you expect to make money? Now, while I'm not able to guarantee any particular outcome, it's just illegal and unethical. Here's what I can tell you: that John here got pretty fast to a point where he was making money. David here is making thousands of dollars per day pretty fast. Peter, a teacher from Singapore, same thing, and a bunch of other people got to a point of making hundreds of dollars and even thousands of dollars a day pretty darn fast. Okay. Now, with that said, I would like to address the elephant in the room, and that is, how much is this going to cost? Here's the deal. I charge $8,000 for one-on-one coaching, but for webinar attendees only, before you guys freak out and be like, oh no, he's going to charge 8 grand. For webinar attendees only, I'm going to show you a way how you can get my system for a tiny fraction of that price. And for that, I want you to meet Kevin from Nottingham in the UK. He actually approached me. He was frustrated. He was trying to make money online for quite some time, and nothing was working. And I'm not sure how he found out about me. Maybe he saw one of my videos or something, or maybe saw like an interview I've done with somebody. But he reached out to me and asked for help. And I told him, okay, my coaching costs $8,000, and I'll teach you how to become an e-farmer. And he said, I don't have $8,000, but can I pay like in installments? And I said, okay. He paid me 2 grand up front, and we got started. And basically, what happened next really may shock some people, because Kevin followed my instructions to a T, and he actually had to do it while working full time in construction, being away from home from his wife Megan and from his boys William and George at the time. But he still managed to do it because it doesn't take a lot of time every day. And a short while longer, he reported that he was able to make so much money with e-farming. He was able to put together a down payment on a brand new family home. So he didn't walk away from his day job right away, but he was able to make the necessary extra income required to dramatically increase the quality of the quality of life for his family. This is his wife Megan on the left-hand side there, checking out the construction site. Now, he obviously paid me back for the coaching. He paid off the whole 8 grand fee. But my question to you is this: Would you like me to coach you on how to make money with e-farming like I did for Kevin without paying the $8,000 he paid me for coaching? So again, let's do one for yes and zero for no, because we have so many yes in the chat now that there's no way of telling um, where we're at. So give me a one in the chat if you want to get in, get the same kind of coaching and system that Kevin got, but without paying the $8,000 mentoring fee, and zero if you couldn't care less. All right. Uh, so I'm seeing ones just flooded in. Obviously, it's a one, says Lie. Yes, 111. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes. So I'm gonna surprise you with this one because my reputation precedes me, and everybody knows I'm really, really expensive, and naturally so because I deliver results. But just for the people on this webinar, I'm actually gonna give you guys a big discount. Now, what's the catch? It's very simple. You see, Kevin paid for my secrets, but also for my time. I actually had to get on Zoom calls with him and stuff like that to explain stuff to him. And, that just takes a lot of time and energy. But soon I realized that I'm really only able to help so many people this way because it creates a bottleneck, and I am the bottleneck. I have only so many hours in the day and only so much energy to be getting on calls and Zoom sessions with people. Plus, I've had, other students at the same time, and I kind of had to teach the same thing over and over and over again, answer the same questions over and over again, so it got a bit redundant. So I found a more efficient way to help people break into e-farming that actually works better than coaching, better than traditional coaching. It actually creates success stories faster than coaching. Okay. And the good news is because I don't have to charge you for my time, I can give you a 98% discount on my $8,000 mentoring fee, which means you can get my e-farming system for just $197 one-time payment, right? And I'll also back it up with a 30-day money-back guarantee to basically say that you have absolutely no risk and nothing to lose by trying this out. In fact, the guarantee will have at least 1,000 big email farm if you just follow what I show you, what I teach you, and use the resources I give you. It's super easy. It's super, super easy. Anyone can do it. And just like Suhey from LA, just like Alia from Georgia, who built a 2,000 email farm, just like Alexandre from New York, who built almost 3,000 email farm, just like Billy from Jacksonville, who built a 1,200 email farm, just like Brian from British Columbia, who built an almost 2,500 email farm, all within the span of the first 30 days. Okay, so if you want my system to build a wildly profitable e-farm in just 30 minutes per day, then all you have to do is just go to igor.so/efarm, and you'll be able to get in at this ridiculously low price. Let's face it, this is ridiculously low price. I actually had to pay a lot more to get into that small society where people did e-farming, where they taught me how to do e-farming. And as you've seen, other students I work with had to pay $8,000 because they had to pay for my time, because they had to pay for getting me on the phone, to getting me on Zoom calls, and therefore I had to charge them a lot of money. Now, as you do that, I also want to talk to you about something that I call the X factor. The X factor that basically, it's a question I get a lot from students like, Igor, what's common, like what people are successful with your stuff and what people are not successful? That's seems to be a big question for people, like what is the common denominator between the people who succeed and people who do not succeed? Well, I studied everybody that I worked with, and the people who really go big, right, the people who really succeed the most, you can actually tell by looking, if you know them, by looking at their life story and by looking at how they behave, you can tell what makes them successful. All these people, they have one thing in common that's not age, because I've helped people like Bruce there on the top left hand side, who's 80, I think 82, when I worked with him. He's a chemistry teacher who succeeded. I worked with young people like, say, Justin Tillman, the guy on the bottom left, who was able to save his mother's home from foreclosure as a result of going into e-farming. I worked with people with a lot of money who had cash to spend, like, for example, Celeste on the bottom right, as well as people who didn't have a lot of money to spend, like, say, Matthew, who's on the top left-hand side in the middle, who was actually in going through bankruptcy as he was reaching out to me for help. I also worked with people from Eastern European countries like Andrea, top right-hand middle side, who basically in Romania, like the economy is crap, and so to try and make money in the West is just very difficult because everything's so expensive. I work with people from Panama, like Juan on the bottom middle, on the right hand side, and I worked with people who had kids, therefore they couldn't afford to, any wiggle room as far as their financial decisions, like Monica and like Igor and Alina Finkel, as you can see, top right and middle middle left. Sorry for all the confusion. So, and to explain to you what is super common between all of my super successful students, I'd like you to meet Juan. So Juan, he's from Panama, and when he reached out to me, he was a recovering alcoholic who just recently got married with about $1,500 to his name. So he naturally couldn't afford my $8,000 mentoring fee. So I told him, look, I'll charge you $1,000. I'll give you my system, and in exchange, you simply will not get any support from me. So you'll get my system, but if you have any questions, you'll have to figure those out on your own. He said, okay, done deal. I won't be bothering you. I can't call you. Just give me the system. And so I did. Now he said yes without hesitation, and a short while later reported making $10,891 in just 72 hours. Now, this is very common for my successful students to behave this way. And what I've boiled things down to is one character trait, and that is decisiveness. All of my successful students were decisive when they were presented with a chance to work with me, whether or not they had everything figured out, whether or not they felt they had the money or didn't have the money. They just went for it. They knew that that's what they needed to do, and they didn't dilly-dally about it, right? They had what I call the ready, fire, aim mentality, where it's like, okay, I'm ready for this, fire, go, and then I'll figure out the details later, okay? And so, because I know that the more decisive you are, the more successful you're going to be with my system, I want to give you an ethical bribe worth $26,855 just to get you excited to move now. But please know, it's only for the first 10 people to take action. Okay, so this is only for the first 10. As I shared with you going into the training, there's only 100 people who were allowed onto this call. So that means it's 10 and that's it. It's done. Okay, so 10 people will get the following bonus package worth $26,855. First and foremost, which I think is really important, is these people will get same-day email support. We have a very strict no student left behind policy and a dedicated full-time support staff. And if you need any help, my support answers the same day, whether by email or phone. But if they can't, you'll get a video response by me for any out of the ordinary request, which again, almost never happens. And we are really proud of our support. In fact, this is Olivia. She's leading the support team, and she's constantly generating these crazy comments for us on Trustpilot, where people are just in awe of the kind of support we provide. Okay, so this is worth $18,000 because that's how much it cost me to retain a support staff for the upcoming 6 months when you're going to be getting your support. Another thing I'm going to give you is a lifetime update commitment, which means, you see, things don't stop working with e-farming, but they do evolve sometimes. Like any industry, things change, things kind of, sometimes we switch to a different software or whatever. So when that happens, you'll get updated training material for free, so you can stay up to date with what's working and what's no longer working. Okay, you won't have to pay a dime for that. That's a $997 value. It's yours free if you're within the first 10 people to enroll. Next, I'm going to give you my top done for you income streams Rolodex. So what I mean by that is I'm going to help you maximize your income by working with the done for you income streams that I work with. So you can get paid more money compared to average income streams you would otherwise have to use and avoid trial and error. So I've tested these, I'm making money, I know they work, so I just tell you what they are so you can use them as well, right? This way, everybody wins. So this is a $1997 value, and this bonus is yours free if you're within the first 10 people to enroll. Next up, I'm going to give you what I call the e-automation quick start guide. So you see, automation can be a little bit confusing if you're not tech savvy. And what I want to do is I want to help you avoid getting lost in unimportant technical details. So I just show you the meat and potatoes on what you need to do. So kind of think about it this way. When you're learning how to drive your car, do you really need to know what's happening under the hood of the car, like how the engine works and what does the battery do and what sort of fluid goes where? No, you don't. You just you press the gas pedal, you turn on the steering wheel, and that's it, right? In the same exact way, that's what I want to do for you. People tend to get lost in all the technical stuff. They look under the hood, so to speak, but it's irrelevant. So I want to show you what you need to do by literally walking you through step by step on how to use the automation software we're using. Okay, so that's $297 value, and it's yours free. I also want to give you what I call the fill in the blanks e-letters. Now, these e-letters, you see, they're important because e-farmers make money by mailing e-letters with done-for-you product offerings, right? We already established that. Now, most done-for-you products come with pre-written e-letters, and some e-letters work really well, some e-letters don't work so well, and some e-letters don't work at all. So for that reason, I developed a set of foolproof e-letters that boost results regardless of the done for you product you're promoting. So you can kind of whip them out and just bam, just use them anytime you wish. They're timeless. You can use them with any product in any niche. You just have to fill in the blanks. That's it. You don't have to write anything from scratch. You just put in the correct values and into the blanks and you're good to go. So this is worth 35.64 because that's how much I paid to develop them. Okay, so but I'll give you those for free. In addition, I want to give you something called the passive income machine. Okay, now I wasn't born rich, so I could never go into stocks or real estate or do anything like that. And that is why I had to develop a system to start making passive income using a one-page website and email marketing because that's what I could do that didn't cost an arm and a leg. So this way, I was able to build multiple streams of income that last, and I'm going to show you how I did it in this training. This training is $29.97 value, and it's yours free if you're within the first 10 students to enroll. I also want to give you my efarm fertilizer sources. Now, these are really cool because the more your efarm grows, the more emails you get into your efarm, the more it will make you. And the key to fast growth is to quickly generate lots of email addresses on autopilot. Now, it is done through e-drops to newsletters owned by other people, and I call them sources. And inside my e-farming system, I show you how to find these newsletters. But in this bonus, I'm actually giving you specific sources to work with that I've personally vetted for you. So you don't have to go researching, you just go and talk specifically to these sources and you run the drops. And so if you do so, you can be just like Justin, who's been adding hundreds and hundreds of new emails to his e-farm and making hundreds of dollars per day in the process. So this is $29.97 and you will have it for free if you're within the first 10 people to enroll. And finally, in my opinion, and I'm biased, the most badass bonus of all is I want to give you a done for you e-farm. Now, what I mean by that is I've built a brand new eFarm and I am showing you how you can clone it with a few clicks. Literally, with a few clicks, you can clone the entire thing for yourself and then use it as your baseline to build your first, second, third, fourth, and basically unlimited amount of eFarms. So the more income streams you want, the more farms you can build, and you can simply use this exact done for you farm every time as your baseline getting started. So it will save you a lot of time going into it. All right. So all this is $48,846 value. Okay. And again, you can have it for just $197. It's very simple. Now, I told you, this is all about being decisive. So first and foremost, remember, only the first 10 people get access to the system and these bonuses, okay? And what's most important is you have 30 minutes to make up your mind to enroll into the system at this price, because this is actual genuine price tag of 8 grand. Okay, that's what other people have paid and are paying. But specifically for the purposes of this training webinar, okay, I'm allowing you to get in for 98% off. This is your only chance to do it. And because I want to do some Q&A and I also want to show you a couple more things, I am giving you 30 minutes to make up your mind. Now, this 30-minute timer is actually only for the offer itself, meaning that this is when you need to decide whether or not you're going to play with me on this. However, the 10 student count is not listed here, and I don't know how many students already enrolled. So if you want these fast action bonuses listed on the left-hand side of your screen, then you better hurry up. Okay, don't wait for that timer to hit 0 or anything like that, because if you do, you will not get these bonuses, and then it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get to the money, so to speak. Like Brian here, for example, right? So Brian actually got to a point where he started making over $100 a day in just a matter of a couple of weeks. Again, Brian was somebody who really wanted to make money online for a long time, but could never really figure out which method, which approach to use. He kind of dabbled with one thing and another, stuff like that. So he didn't really achieve much or do much until he met me, until he kind of hooked up with me and I showed him what to do. And very quickly, this guy just skyrocketed, you know. So if you want to be more like Angela, for example, Angela reached a $100 a day point within just a couple of weeks as well. And she came in full-time mom, actually, so working full-time and a mom. And she was able to do this in her spare time after putting kids to bed. Okay, so this system is it's pretty groundbreaking. It's pretty revolutionary, and a lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people don't know what e-farming is. E-farming is not really being discussed, openly because, well, why would it be, right? If it's working. What tends to be happening on the internet is that people want to try to sell you stuff, but a lot of times they try to sell stuff that doesn't actually work. Well, you know that just by looking at, for example, Arun's feedback, that this is the kind of stuff that actually works. Because for him, he didn't even share with me how much money he was earning. He actually focused. He was just excited the by the feeling of freedom and the feeling of confidence that came as a result of being able to finally feel in control over his life, over his income. And if you've ever been in a situation where life kind of threw you around, you know exactly what he means. Otherwise, life can get really, really difficult. Now, Derman here. Derman is actually an interesting case because he started with me. I think he was a student in university or something, and he's from Malaysia. So his English was really bad. In fact, it was so bad that when we spoke on the phone, I just had trouble understanding the guy, and that's definitely a barrier a lot of times for people who want to make money online, because some strategies require you to create content, to write articles, all kinds of strategies like shoot videos or whatever. And Darman couldn't do any of that. Not to mention that he was going to school full time. But of course, he was young, so he had energy. But anyway, he approached me again, just like most other people. He finds me, he seeks me out, and he says, "Can you help me?" So I show him my system, And even to his surprise, he ends up building an e-farm the size of what 4,400 email addresses very quickly. Now, what this ends up resulting in is he's able to produce hundreds of dollars within a matter of hours, not even a matter of days. So, I mean, that's pretty insane if you think about it, right? Now, as I go through these case studies, feel free to post questions in the chat about e-farming, okay? And I will pick them up. Lana will feed them to me through our chat system, but I'll just keep going. So we got Celeste. Celeste, she's a full-time mom of three and a business owner, right? So she's very, very busy. And yet she, just like many business owners, felt overworked, felt frustrated, exhausted. A lot of times when you go into business for yourself, it's not exactly as you expected. It's not entirely, it's not always like sunshine and rainbows. So a lot of times businesses struggle to keep the lights on. A lot of times businesses get very demanding. And for Celeste, it was becoming very demanding, and she said, okay, I needed to build something on the side, and I showed her how to use e-farming to add another source of income, to add another way of another way of paying the bills, right? So, and she did it while having that business, while having kids. So, and that's before she did any of the advanced strategies. So now she's able to make $3,000 per month on the side, just doing that part time. Again, not easy with most things out there. Like, think, I don't know. All right. So I'm getting a message saying that the link is unsafe. Well, what you need to do is you need to go to igor.so/efarm. And if you're typing HTTP, it needs to be HTTP and not HTTPS. Okay? So Igor, just open a new tab in your browser, type in igor.so/efarm, whether on your computer or your phone, and you'll see what I mean. The only reason for it to say that it's like unsafe or something is if you typed HTTPS instead of HTTP. Okay, that's the only reason for it to do so. Let me just verify it on my end as well. You never know with this stuff, right? HTTP igor.so/efarm. Yep, seems to be loading just fine for me. Okay, so we also have Darren here. Now, Darren is interesting. So he had a full-time job as well. He worked in some kind of an office or something like that. And he was very skeptical when he found me. He was also very broke. And it was, I remember him, he was very timid and he lacked that self-confidence. But we took him to a first $100 day, and then shortly after the first $300 day. And ever since then, again, even for someone who's not used to experience success, even for somebody who's not used to be making money, that was still a breakthrough because the system works. It's just the system doesn't care who you are. You know what I mean? Like the system just doesn't discriminate, if you will, against your previous experience, your skin color, your gender, your ethnicity, your computer skills. It just doesn't. It just works because it works. Now, Dave here, he didn't want to share his photo. He's very concerned about internet privacy. He built a 2,500 email farm in just 3 weeks. And as he says here, I haven't quit my day job yet, but I've already made $2,013.70. I like where this is going, right? Now, what I hear a lot from my students is that they're really excited that for once they're not spending money, but they're actually making money. That's That's not that's just not something that they're used to. They're used to be getting involved with something and spending, 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 spending. You know what I mean? They're not used to seeing returns, especially so fast. Brian says Igor is the only internet marketing guru, and I don't really like the word, but I guess I've earned the status. The only internet marketing guru I know who goes the extra mile for his students. His training is always on point. He knows his stuff. Andrea. So Andrea's from Romania, and so interesting, interesting thing about Andrea is that she was in a very tricky situation. You see, I was born in Ukraine, so I kind of know what that feels like because in Ukraine, especially shortly after the Soviet Union breaking apart, a lot of people would work and not, they didn't know for a fact if they would be getting paid a paycheck, like if their boss would pay them the paycheck. You know what I mean? So Andrea, she was still living that reality where her boss, her employer, just decided not to pay her salary and for several months. So she had to borrow money from her mother to start with the program. And as a result, went on to be making 3 grand per month US dollars, which is far far beyond what people in Romania make. I don't know, like I didn't check, but as far as I know, in Romania, I think the average is maybe 500, maybe 700 bucks. But even if it's 1,000, that's still 3 times the average, right? 3 times the average income. And she's, you know, just no education, no MBA, nothing like that. Again, I haven't seen a lot of things online that you can do that produce that sort of outcome, that produce these sort of results. Because even if you go into things like drop shipping and whatever, like you still have to negotiate with suppliers and pay for software of all kinds, and pay fees to Amazon. Like it just there's a lot you need to do. Now Jason here from Australia says joining Igor is undoubtedly the best decision I've ever made. Yesterday I smashed through my first $100 day. Again, you're seeing, right? You're seeing the thread here. A lot of people seem to be aiming to that $100 day mark. So I don't know what your goal is, but even if it's just 100 bucks per day, that's still substantial difference maker, no matter who you are. Whether you're like middle class or below middle class, doesn't matter. 3 grand is still a lot of money. Now, Lennon here from Ecuador actually built a 7,000 email farm and an income of $8,000 per month, which is interesting because his email farm basically pays him more than $1 per email. So every time he adds an email to his email farm, that's like getting $1, right? So that's another way to think about it, another way to do the math. James here from Connecticut, he was actually able to achieve a huge milestone in his life as a result of going into e-farming. He was able to move from Connecticut to Florida and stay there and to be able to afford to live there, which for him was a huge thing, like a thing he dreamed of doing for many years. And a couple of weeks ago, as he says, he had his $970 day, which again, it's pretty crazy, pretty crazy, if you ask me. And it's crazy because these are people without previous experience, without business education, without the advantages that the celebrities have, like capital and brand name recognition, things like that. These are completely average, completely normal people. Now, Bill here is very interesting. So Bill, he had higher education. He had student loan debt up to his eyeballs, and he implemented my system for about an hour before work. As far as I can recall, he was talking about. I think he woke up at 5 a.m. and did the e-farming for an hour, then went to the gym and I think by 7:30 or 8 a.m. he went to the office. So yeah, the guy's obviously dedicated, and he was really driven to get rid of all the student debt. And so within just the first 90 days, he started making $3,000 per month, right? That's profit. Then he went on to make $6,000 per month, I think in the next 30 or 45 days. But eventually, he actually walked away from a day job. He paid off his student loan debts, and I believe he started some kind of a supplement or fitness business or something like that. So e-farming wasn't necessarily the be all end all for him. Like he didn't necessarily dream of doing e-farming for the rest of his life, but he used e-farming as the bridge to pay off debt, to pay bills, to get rid of a job he didn't like, and so on and so forth. Albie. So Albie from Australia. Albie, I'd call him a classic shiny object junkie, right? So he's been a member of many network marketing companies, and he did a bunch of stuff. But he started out as a truck driver, really. And Albie actually started using my e-farming system, and he was able to net $10,000 in just 3 days using it. So he built his e-farm, and then he just ran a few e-letters, and just literally from a few e-letters, he was able to collect 10 grand, which is, again, sounds a bit crazy, but that's the reality for e-farmers. And this gonna sound even crazier. I'm not even sure if you're gonna believe this one, but this is a real a real person. Name is David. He's from Toronto, and David actually approached me when he was working for a company called Rogers, which is a big telecommunication company here in Canada. So it's kind of like the AT&T or whatever. And he was just a salesman. He was the best salesman in his branch, but he really hated the experience of working there because they wouldn't let him go on the New Year's. He wanted to go on vacation. They said no, and so he was working overtime. He was not given vacation days, so he decided to change his situation, and he goes into online marketing, if you will, or trying to um, make money online for some time, and fails miserably with every method, right? um, and then he finds me. And what's interesting, he finds me and decides not to sign up with me. I tell him my fee is 8 grand. He says, no, I'm not going to sign up. I say, okay. A year later, he comes back almost begging me to take him back. I end up charging him more money. I end up charging him 10 grand. But he comes back and he begs me to take him back because he realizes that he should have just signed up with me, paid the money, and saved himself the trouble. Because in that time, he went on to try a bunch of different methods that none worked. And he goes on to build a $100,000 per month business through e-farming within, I think, within the span of 2 years. So his first 90 days he made $17,000, but he then very quickly built that up further and further and further and further. Now this guy, his name is Eugene. He's actually from Russia, and what you should know about Russian people, and I'm part Russian. Both my parents are Russian. Is that Russian people are really, really skeptical. Um, and for me, it was really weird to see a Russian guy, come and ask me for help because Russian people just don't believe in coaching. It's just again Russians from Russia, I guess. Um, and so he came, and I don't know why, but I decided to take him on. And as he says here, he tried a lot of stuff. He tried poker, forex, SEO, a lot of stuff, but he didn't try e-farming. So when he tried e-farming with me, within a 5 month, he actually, um, what does he say there? Today I've got a business capable of supporting me. This month I cleared 5 figures, right? So within 5 to 6 months or so, he started making 5 figures, and to him that was mind blowing, especially compared to what his friends back in Russia make, right? Um, um, so I have a question here from Shirley. Can I make money by buying only your first efarming course because I can't afford to buy the other products. Actually, Shirley, if you sign up right now, you're really only paying for the e-farming system and you get the other stuff for free. Okay. So, yeah, you can do that. You don't have to buy all of these. You can just sign up and you get all of these for free. Okay. So now we've got Emilis. Now, Emilis is a guy from Lithuania, and he's been a classic shiny object seeker, classic junkie, tried everything. Like you name it, he tried it for sure. And with Emilis, it was really, really easy. I don't know why, but we really jammed together. You know, we sort of like we're in the same sort of mindset and everything. And you know, he succeeded extremely quickly. Within the first year, I believe he went on to be making $30,000 per month, which for any country is a lot of money. But for Lithuania, come on, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, he since then I think even started his own watch company or software company. Like the guy went on to do bigger, better, greater things than e-farming, but I'm pretty sure he still has a few income streams from e-farming. You don't just walk away from that. It's just, it's free money, so to speak. Justin. So I told you about Justin. Justin used to work as a sales guy for AT&T, and his mother passed away from cancer. And what's unfortunate is that he couldn't afford the mortgage on the house alone. So when he approached me, like he needed to succeed fast. And remember, I told you that my successful students tend to be decisive, right? And that's because usually they're pressured to be decisive by the life circumstance they're in. So Justin was decisive. He started with me, and same as others, very quickly he started building his e-farm. And not only he was able to pay off his home in full in the first year, he was actually able to also do it while traveling. So he actually traveled 12 countries in 12 months the first year he was doing e-farm. And that alone, I think, is an achievement. That alone, I think, is something that goes on many people's bucket lists, And he did that just like that. Um, Jason here, he was able to scale to $1,000 per week with e-farming. Again, you can see the common thread, like just regular people making money. So I know it doesn't mean like it might not mean anything to you. You might be thinking, well, they could make money, doesn't mean I'll make money. Maybe they had something special going on, maybe they had some sort of talent, whatever. But I'm telling you, these are completely average people from all the different walks of life. And it's not because they were special, it's because the system is special. The common denominator is the system, not the people. And you have 7 more minutes to make a decision whether or not you want to be a part of this. Now, as you're thinking about it, here's another guy, Justin. So Justin basically was coming with a bit of capital, a little bit of credit, but no income and no plan. Like he asked me so many questions. I really I really told him, dude, you seem to be like too annoying. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be a nuisance. I don't want to I have enough problems in my life. Just you know, but I took him on. And after 3 months, he started making 8 grand per month. And after 6 months, he actually started making 15 grand per month. He went on to travel, I think, find a girlfriend and get married somewhere in Thailand or something like that. It's just complete life change. And he was waiting tables when he first signed up with me. From waiting tables to 15 grand per month in just 6 months. Think about it. Show me a business school that can do that. Show me a real estate property that can do that. Show me an MBA that can do that. Like it's seriously, I don't really like the only reason people are still going to college and school and stuff like that is, of course, if you want to become a doctor and or an architect, you need to do that. But as far as purely for money making purposes, if people knew about this, they wouldn't be wasting their time. Corey here went on to be making $20,000 per month with e-farming. Um, Kiara recommends me as the go-to e-farming guy, and Chris says that he made more money with my program in a single week than with all the other things he've ever done online. That tells you something. Guys, you have 5 more minutes to ask me any questions about e-farming. Okay. All right. So Daz, he owned a painting facility, like painting factory or painting plant, like he was producing paint, and he wanted to build something on the side. All right. So we helped him build a full-time income on a part-time basis. Ahmed from Egypt, he's a student, right? So he was, again, very skeptical, very fearful to join because students don't have a lot of money. And again, he's making money every day now. Another Igor from Croatia. So this guy, Igor Vorosic, he, what I would call a black hat guy. So he could do all kinds of black hat stuff. But black hat stuff doesn't last. It's also legal. So, a lot of times you're doing it at the risk of getting into in legal trouble. So he needed and wanted to do something white hat, to do something legit. So I showed him e-farming, and within just 6 weeks, he was on track to be making $3,000 in the span of just 1 month. Again, like it's a white hat tactic, right? That produces almost black hat results. That's what he told me when he showed me the income proof. He was like, dude, like before I only made this with black hat stuff. Now I know how to do it with white hat stuff. Right, so 3 minutes left, guys, to either ask questions or make up your mind whether you want to join. Again, I'm not checking whether or not we already had our 10 people. So if you want to be sure that you are, you better hurry up. Okay. I know that sometimes people wait till the end of the webinar to join for some reason, but this is the cue. Okay. I'm giving you the cue. It's time to join if you are thinking about it. So Daniel had his first $2,500 month, and again was shocked that he was able to make so much money. Igor and Alina from Philadelphia, they went on to be making $7,000 a month. Chrissy from California, from Redding, California, she built an e-farm, a 9,919 e-farm, and making thousands of dollars every week. Daniel here wakes up to nearly $200 waiting for him, which is really cool. A really cool way to start the day. And Brian, when he discovered e-farming, I quickly showed him how to take it to $100 a day from home. So again, I can keep showing you more and more and more and more testimonials, but it's clear and it's obvious. No matter who you are or how many different things you've tried, um, e-farming is something you really have to try if you're serious about making money from home, even if, or especially if, everything else you've tried did not work. And you now have exactly 1 minute and 10 seconds to make up your mind.